there's there's a very high probability that I just screwed that all up. Oh well. Well, what I learned here is that going live through my streaming app is not the same as going live on YouTube. So that is very sad, and it is not something that I realized I needed to do. Using YouTube's new streaming platform, that's very silly. Very silly of me. But what are you gonna do? Alrighty. So we're back, and we're up here. For those that may or may not be joining, I have found out that so you stream through this platform called OBS, Open Broadcasting Software, and I hit start streaming on OBS because that's all I had to do last time. But now with the scheduled stream that I had going on YouTube, I found out that that is not enough. So I have been streaming for the past hour, talking to nobody but myself. Not good, Jack, not good. So, most likely you'll be able to go back and watch the past hour of this stream. I don't know why. Don't know why it worked like that, but it does, and here we are. And we're not gonna go crazy over it. So for those joining, hello and welcome to me actually being live now. So we're already a decent chunk of the way into the episode. We're at Drake's part, so we've gone through Abby, we've gone through Paige, gone through Hallie, and we've gone mostly through Drake. That's actually where we're at right now. So yeah, if you're joining us, say something in the comments. That way I know who's here, so I can say hello back. So we already went ahead and cut up Drake's part. Like it's all good to go, all nice. But of course we need something to represent what he's talking about. News is kind of useless if you don't have something to actually kind of visually see and connect to with what is going on. So we'll listen here.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to World News with your host, me. Now, today in the news, a tiny Alaskan town named Gustavus, which is 7 hours away from the capital, Juneau, has no roads that can lead cars in, and with being covered with mountains on 3 sides and...
So go back to get that town name that he's talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to World News with your host, me. Now, today in the news, a tiny Alaskan town named Gustavus, which is 7 hours away from the capital, Juneau, has no roads that can lead cars in, and with being covered with mountains on 3 sides and ocean on 1, the only way in is flying and boats. Now, the town grocer brought it upon himself to buy a freighter ship and travel to Juneau and collect $20,000 worth of groceries, from washing machines to eggs.
So it might be hard to find a good picture for that, but here's an article related to what Drake is talking about. Probably what I'll end up doing is just actually getting a picture of the town and putting it in there, even though there's nothing I can directly show about this grocer that bought all the groceries. So this looks like the town we're working with, Gustavus. That's probably what we're gonna use. And we'll give it a good old download, plop it in here, and we'll throw it on top of Drake. But we don't want it right there in the center of his face because that looks a little bit goofy. So we'll click on her and bring it over to the right side of his face. And I actually am going to do something similar to, even though you guys didn't see it because I screwed up the whole streaming thing, we're going to go back to this part where Hallie's graphic slides in from the right.
Memories, videos, anything that you guys have taken to the studio. We are putting together a big surprise next week.
So we're going to do a similar thing to that for Drake, just to make, because normally we always do the fade in, and I'm feeling something different right now, you know, we're going with a new thing. Alrighty, so set our position keyframe, and we'll bring it back to where it's just off screen. Go forward a few frames, we'll mess with it later, and then pull it back to where it is in frame and looks all nice. Go forward a few more frames, set another keyframe up here on the top left. On this bar there's a little dot you can click, and we'll set another one exactly where it is right now. Go forward a few more frames, and then we'll drag it back off screen. So now, if you see here, on this top left area, we have 4 points. We're going to bring the first and last one to the very beginning and end of our clip here. And then we're going to just kind of spread out the middle two to where there's a lot of space in between them, but they're relatively close to the first and last point. So right now what we have is a picture coming in like this.
Is flying and boats. Now, the town grocer brought it upon himself.
So you could use that, it looks fine. But it's not very dynamic, it's pretty linear.
The only way in
makes you feel
is flying.
like, this is probably edited by, I don't know, like a preschooler. Preschoolers, I bet you can actually do better. But that's generally what I think the vibe it gives off when things just come in super straight like that. So what we'll do, go up here on the top left again, and also a bit harder to see, but there are these graphs, and if we just flatten the graph to where it actually makes a nice slope and then comes into a flat plane, that will make our graphic come in a bit smoother and make it look a bit more professional. So now the speed at which our graph, our picture comes in here is like this. Oh gosh. Again. So instead of just coming in like dink and then leaving, it's coming in quick and then staying there, and then it's ramping up as it leaves. So now it looks like this. And
ocean on one. The only way in is flying and boats. Now, the town grocer brought it upon himself.
So that's how we want the graph to come in. I'm gonna move it back a little bit.
Roads that can lead.
So it comes up when he's talking about the town instead of talking about the grocer, since I can't seem to find an actual picture of the grocer.
Alaskan town named Gustavus, which is 7 hours away from the capital, Juneau, has no roads that can lead cars in, and with being covered with mountains on 3 sides and...
So that's that part for Drake. We'll go forward here.
In other news, did your vacation get canceled because of quarantine? Well, so did many people's, but don't despair yet, because Europe has vowed to reopen rail, road, air, and sea travel back up during the summer and start touring again, as it is the most profitable commodity in Europe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will have to say
Alright, so I'm just gonna find an article on this, see if there's any like pictures we could use. Again, this one doesn't have to be exactly specific to what he's talking about. It's kind of hard to have a picture showing Europe vowing to reopen everything after coronavirus. So instead what we'll do is just grab this picture. I thought it looked nice of Paris there.
to spare yet.
And we'll get that all set up where we want it to be, make it a little bit bigger. Right about there. We'll bring it out of frame, set a keyframe with the stopwatch icon there on the left, go forward just a few, bring it into where we want to be able to see it, go forward a few more, we'll click on the diamond icon to set another keyframe, and we'll go forward a few more, and we'll bring it back out. And just like that first picture clip, we'll bring our first and last one to the beginning and end of this picture, and then the other two spaced apart to where they're closer to the beginning and end.
But don't despair yet, because Europe has vowed to reopen rail, road, air, and sea travel.
Okay, so again, it comes in linearly there. So we'll make the... Man, dog's going wacko. We'll make the graphs here look like a much smoother ramp. And now we're done with Drake's part.
Yet, because Europe has vowed to reopen rail, road, air, and sea travel back up during the summer and start touring again, as it is the most profitable commodity in Europe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will have to say adieu for now. Onwards to Brooklyn with Sports Zone.
Alrighty, so that is everything for Drake's. We'll click on the transition there, and then alt-click and drag it back to the end of Drake's part. Alrighty. Returned we have. Crazy dog is gone. Not like not bad gone. So after Drake, we'll go back to script to reference. After Drake we have Drake is world news. After Drake we have Brooklyn's part, which we'll bring on in here. We'll drag an adjustment layer on top of that. We'll make it bigger to fill the entire space here that is in the frame. Looks like it's 150%.
Or whether the team won or lost, everybody was happy and had fun no matter what. For Aubrey, she says that the sport has turned into a...
So again, to match audio, to make sure one person isn't astronomically louder than another person, we'll go back to Drake.
To Brooklyn with Sports Zone.
when he's talking normally.
Back up during the summer and start touring again,
We can see that his audio peaks hit about the -12 mark, which is where we want it to be.
as it is the most profitable commodity in Europe.
We'll go over to Brooklyn here and do the same thing.
So I would like to remind all spring senior athletes
So she seems a little bit louder than Drake was, a little above that 12 decibel mark.
this week we are going to be highlighting our
So we just bring it down a
softball
tiny bit.
seniors. Before we do so, I would like to remind all spring senior athletes
Alrighty.
this week
We'll get rid of some of that earlier silence.
This week we are going to be highlighting our softball seniors. Before we do so, I would like to remind all spring senior athletes to check their email and check their social media private messages to answer our few questions about their sport. The first
Alright, so we'll get rid of our gap there.
is to answer our few questions about their sport. The first senior softball player that we are going to be highlighting is Aubrey Andacover. She plans to attend Wilmington College and major in nursing. Her favorite memories include the bus rides because
Same
no
thing,
matter
I'm just
whether
gonna
the
mark
team
these
won
as
or
we go.
lost, everybody was happy and had fun no matter what. For Aubrey, she says that the sport has turned into a passion. She worked hard almost every day to get better, and she will greatly miss the sport and the team because her teammates turned into her family. She said that she will be forever grateful for them. Next is Mackenzie Slagle. She plans to attend Wright State University and major in neuroscience. Her favorite memory of the sport is joking with her teammates. Congratulations, ladies, and we would like to wish you the best of luck in your future plans.
Alrighty. So as that played through, I went ahead, C on the keyboard, changes it to the cut tool, and I just made marks and all of the little breaks in audio that I wanted to get rid of. And now I can just go back through here, right click in that empty space, and then click Ripple Delete, and now we're all trimmed up. So Brooklyn has sent me pictures of the senior she is featuring, so I will bring those in again here. And before we do that, we'll do a quick color correction on Brooklyn's footage. Hers seems pretty fine right off the bat, especially if we look right here at our scopes. Basically, everything in the shot is right on this line here, and we can see a little bit deviates off, but that is because of her orange shirt. So we really shouldn't have to mess with it too much. We can see how it shifts stuff here if we move it around a little bit. I'm just trying to get a good balance between not making sure that this orange shirt is totally blown out, but also not making everything look super cold like that. We might even just pull back the overall saturation a little bit, and then bump our exposure by like 0.3. So the color correction part of that takes us from that to this. Oops, to this. Again, a pretty subtle difference, but if you saw them back to back, you'd be like, oh, it looks a lot better. Do the same thing we have done in the previous clips, even though nobody's seen it because I messed up the stream. We'll go down here to our curves. We'll bring up our black point a little bit, just so the blackest point in the image isn't pure black. It's more like a very dark gray. Bring down our bring down our shadows a tiny bit. but I'll move it down a little bit higher up. Because there's this big shadow on the wall, if I pull it down the whole thing too far, it makes that part really dark, but really doesn't mess with anything else. You can see if I start it down here and I pull that down, it's like instant demon status. So instead, I'll pull it down a little bit as it's higher up, and then I'll bump those highlights back up just a tiny bit. So now there's our before and our after. Maybe even bring up the shadows a little bit more. And then another cool thing you can do, not often used in like production, like this sort of setting, but instead in films and things where you're trying to convey, "What's up, Xander? What is up, my gamer?" Instead of just doing what I've done so far, they'll try to convey a specific emotional meaning or something that makes you feel a certain way. And so we can actually drag around our shadows here to all these super cool, rad colors, and we can try to convey more of an emotional meaning. I'll get rid of it afterwards because we're not trying to convey anything here with a senior feature. So we'll bring down the shadows towards a little bit of a tealy blue, and then we'll move our highlights towards more of an orange. This is what you see in literally every Hollywood film ever. There's at least one shot,
Question.
if not like every shot, that is graded towards a teal and orange spectrum. I think they're contrasting, complementary. There's some sort of match on the color wheel. So they go together really well, and it lends itself very easily to skin tones because we're trying to push our skin tones more towards the orange line anyway. Not like we're trying to make it literally orange, but it just complements really well when we're working in more of a film grading setting. So we're not going to use it here, but I just wanted to show what that looks like. There's before, and there would be after with a teal and orange grade. They can go way heavier than that though. And if you've seen the football documentary I put together, there are a lot of clips that are very, very heavily graded just to convey a certain mood. And I didn't use teal and orange a bunch in that, but for example, let's pull her up here.
Friday nights, there's nothing like it in general because you can.
So we'll pull that down. Here's a pretty teal and orangey grade that we got going on, especially in this interview shot. You can see our shadows are very teal, and then our skin tones are more on the orange side, and that makes a very dramatic cinematic look. When we get into the actual gameplay shots, I decided to not go with that, but you can see the grass at our school football field does not look like that. It is not like this weird blue thing, and people's arms don't look like that. However, when you're watching this, you don't think, man, our grass really doesn't look like that. You just think, wow, that looks sick. And so a lot of what color does is to draw the attention away from just like, hey, this is a shot after shot after shot, and it's trying to draw you more into the story. It's trying to create some sort of cohesive thing, and in this case that's color, some cohesive thing that ties all this together. And like in the football thing I shot, it's all color pretty much. We go from this yellow on the helmets to more of an orange, and everything's tied together that way, even though they're wearing different uniforms or they're playing at different places. The color is what ties us all together, and it's what keeps you invested in what's going on. And so although that same thing doesn't apply exactly to editing the studio, it definitely does for the feature segments that we used to do, or we still do, but that we used to do a bit more heavily when we were at school, and Mason and I could go out and film whatever. Then we'd grade stuff fairly heavily. We'd try to convey some sort of emotional message, most of the time super silly and intent, but there's a bit of an irony between the silly stuff going on and the really dramatic colors and camera movement that we have going on. So if we were back at school, we'd be doing a lot more of that stuff here, but because we're not at school and we're doing a bit more of the quarantine style remote setup, a lot of this stuff doesn't matter as much, and you can get away with not pushing colors very, very far.
About their sport. The first senior softball player that we are going to be highlighting is Aubrey Andicover. She plans to attend Wilmington College in May.
Alright, so we have Aubrey Andicover. We have her picture here. And I think what I'm going to do this time is just make him full screen instead of next to Brooklyn's face. So we'll start it there, go forward a few frames, make it a little bit bigger, and then we'll spread those keyframes out. And we'll mess with our velocity here so it zooms in a more, or in a less robotic fashion. So now we have a nice bell curve going on. And again, to make sure it actually fades in instead
The
of
first senior softball player that
showing up like that, we'll zoom in on that picture of Aubrey, and we'll click P or hit P on the keyboard. Make 4 points. Drag the first one all the way down. Drag the last one all the way down. Move the inner two closer to the edges of the picture. Now we have
The first senior softball player that we are going to be highlighting is Aubrey Andicover. She plans to attend Wilmington College and major in nursing. Her favorite memories include the bus ride.
We'll do a quick little zoom on Brooklyn here.
Her favorite memories include the bus rides because no matter whether the team won or lost, everybody was happy and had fun no matter what. For Aubrey, she says that the sport has turned into a passion. She worked hard almost every day to get better, and she will greatly miss the sport and the team because her teammates turned into her family. She said that she will be forever grateful for them. Next is Mackenzie.
Okay. So now we have Mackenzie after that. We'll bring in her picture. We will make it full screen. Set a keyframe, go forward a few, zoom it in, move those to the beginning and end, and do the exact same thing where we click down on that drop down menu and we make the graph here look a little bit more curvy. And we do the same thing with the opacity.
For them. Next is Mackenzie Slagle. She will be forever grateful for them. Next is Mackenzie Slagle. She plans to attend Wright State.
All right.
Next is Mackenzie Slagle. She plans to attend Wright State University and major in neuroscience. Her favorite memory of the sport is joking with her teammates. Congratulations, ladies, and we would like to wish you the best of luck in your future plans.
Alrighty, so there's all of Brooklyn's part.
Joking
Go
with her.
ahead and bring our transition back over. Check out the script for what's next, and it's Jacob and Eli. So we'll pull in Jacob first.
your future plans.
We are looking forward to a stormy
Also, cool thing, the last song that just played there in the background is going to be part of a upcoming movie that I'll be filming, potentially this summer. That was the initial plan, but it's probably going to be a bit delayed due to Rona. But that's going to be part of the soundtrack. So, if you have any interest in acting, hit me up. We're looking to get some people to make a super cool thing.
You the best of luck in your future plans.
We are looking forward to a stormy trend throughout the week. We are looking forward to a stormy trend.
So now we're on to Jacob. I'm gonna pull over an adjustment layer.
Future plans.
We are looking forward to a stormy trend throughout the weekend, with this evening's thunderstorms persisting through the night and into Saturday, where it will storm all day, only taking a break over the night, and continuing again on Sunday, where it will yet again storm for the entire day.
So there's Jacob's part. And now we bring in Eli here for the same thing.
We start off our weekend with a high of 73, pushing on into Saturday and Sunday, each with highs of 75. Thunderstorms, however.
Excuse me. We've got a question for anyone that's watching. You can just type it in chat. Did it start you when you came onto the stream at the very beginning, where I had been streaming for an hour but didn't make it live on YouTube, or did it start you in the present moment right now? We'll see. Alright. So we'll make two adjustment layers, one over Jacob and one over Eli. For Jacob's, we'll go into our corrections in our elementary scopes. You can see there's highlights that are blown out. That's everything behind him, like in the sky. All that is pure white, and we can bring down the highlights as much as we want, but there's no way to get the information back, just because the dynamic range, which is a camera is not like a built-in setting, but it's just like a feature of cameras. Dynamic range is how much info they can retain in both highlights and shadows. So iPhones are great quality, but their dynamic range being very low is what separates them from really high-end cameras. So if we were recording on like a super cinema camera, or even the one that I have that I use for the studio, maybe these highlights are blown out and they look blown out, but there's also the possibility that we can pull them down and get the information back. Here there's no possibility of that. So what we do instead, just not worry about them, but what we'll do, we'll just bump everything up just to make Jacob's face brighter. Actually, I changed my mind again. What we're gonna do instead is we'll get our total adjustments how we want them. Bring down our highlights probably. Mess with the curves how we want them to be. And then we're going to add another Lumetri color effect. And if we go over here to the effects controls, we can make a mask. So we're gonna draw a line all the way around Jacob here. And thankfully he stays pretty still throughout this whole thing. So if we make a line around him, we can keep the background a bit darker than it would be if we brought his face up. So we can do that. We can go into basic correction, and we can pull up the highlights on him so he's brighter too. So this is kind of an artificial way to extend the dynamic range. We'll do that, and then we'll just feather the mask a little bit. So now what we have, our total before and after. There's before, there's after, and then here's our first before, or first after. Jacob's too dark, so we bring him up through the mask, and it's just him, not the entire image. So there we got Jacob look a little bit better.
We are looking forward to a stormy trend throughout the weekend, with this evening's thunderstorms persisting through the night and into Saturday, where it will storm all day, only taking a break over the night, and continuing again on Sunday, where it will yet again storm for the entire day.
So that's how we do Jacob's color correction.
And into Saturday, where it will storm all day, only taking a break over the night, and continuing again on Sunday, where it will yet again storm for the entire day.
So that's how we do Jacob's color correction. Now we go on to Eli.
We start off our weekend with a high of...
So we'll do his correction real quick.
We start off our...
We're gonna have to bring up the shadows to see Eli's face here. Probably drop our highlights and bump the overall exposure. So now we go from this being very, very dark to being able to see at least a little bit of what's going on. We'll shift the tint to be, or the temperature to be a bit more blue, and our tint, I honestly think is pretty right on. That looks good. So there's a before on Eli, and then our after. And we're gonna bump saturation just a tiny bit on Eli's. I think that looks totally fine for him.
Pushing on into Saturday and Sunday, each with highs of 75. Thunderstorms, however, will force temperatures back down for the beginning of the week.
What is up, Graphy?
73, pushing on into Saturday and Sunday, each with highs of 75.
Okay. So now we pull in the actual weather graphic for Eli. So that's over here, and Essential Graphics, and it's the one called Modern Animated something something. And we'll just bring that right over on top of Eli. So we don't want Eli to be all covered up. That looks sad. So instead, what we'll do is click on Eli's clip, go to Effect Controls on the top left, set a keyframe on the position when the thing starts to move, go all the way towards all the way in, and we're going to pull him over there. set another one right before it starts to leave, right here, and go all the way to where it's blacked out, and we'll bring him back into normal frame there. So now he moves along with that graphic. So now we just gotta set up the graphic. So it is currently May. It's Friday. It's Saturday. And it's Sunday. Actually, we'll change Friday to tonight since it comes out on Friday. And I'm going to actually look up the weather. So yeah, 72, 60 as our first day. So 72, Alt 017, oh shoot, I messed it up. Alt 0176. And then we'll do so 72, 60, 77, 64. And 82.57. Wow. So there are
73.
all attempts
Pushing
put
on
in
into
there.
Saturday.
But we want to make sure it matches up with what he's saying. I don't want to put a temp in there that may be more accurate to the time that I'm making this, but we don't want it to be different than what he's saying. And he filmed his thing yesterday, so in all, like, it doesn't matter if it's off by a few degrees. So we'll go through what he's actually saying and change accordingly.
Entire day.
We start off our week
And into Saturday, where it will storm all day, only taking a break over the norm for the entire day.
We start off our weekend with a high of 73, pushing on into Saturday and Sunday, each with highs of 75.
Okay, so I'll make tonight 73. And then I'll change the tonight one for the Saturday and Sunday to 75.
Thunderstorms, however, will force temperatures back down for the beginning of the week.
Okie dokie. So there's that for Eli. And we're just going to add in our walking transition one more time.
For the beginning of the week. For the beginning of the week.
And now we'll go back and we'll add in Noah's part and Mason's part. And then we'll film my part since I have yet to do that. Right. So here's Noah's. Noah is scripted to go in right after Hallie, and then Mason will follow that. So it should be Abby, Paige, Hallie, Noah. So I'm going to have to move around a few things.
at 7 p.m. More details pizza party.
So Abby Page will go grab Hallie's part. We'll put that next to Paige's.
And bam! Hey guys, this is my last week to remind the seniors.
Then we'll grab Noah's part.
My hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talk.
So here's a tour of the new weight room.
Hello everybody, the weight room's about 95% done so far, and it's looking awesome, and I'm gonna show you what we got so far.
So now we'll go ahead and film my part. So I'll put stream on pause, and we'll come back probably in like 5 or 10 minutes when I'm done filming my stuff. It's gonna say dinner time, but you know it's not dinner.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine. Been trying to get all of you all night. We haven't talked in months, but that's alright. Was wondering if you wanted to go for a drive. I just need some fresh air and an old friend. I'm so glad that we started talking again. Yo, turn up the radio, I love this song. Remember when we used to stay up all night long? How's it been going? Oh, how's it, mom? The roads are so empty, this is so damn calm. If we stick on the highway, we can drive all night long. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. We can drive around to the sky and see meat. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. I got my hands out the window, feeling the ocean breeze. Are we going again? Just you and I on another one of our famous midnight drives. Do you need to rant or just stay silent? Either or, you know I'm compliant. Take a left up ahead, we're going towards the horizon. Don't stop going till we see the sunrise. You know this is who we are, this is what we do. Driving in circles till we find something new. The only person I enjoy sitting in the car with. is you. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. We can drive around to the sky and see meet. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. I got my hands out the window, feeling the ocean breeze. If it's fine by you, I'll be beside you, staring out the window, looking at the summer view. Fine by you, I'll be next to you. If it's fine by you, I'll be beside you, speeding down the highway with the wind blowing through. Everything around us feeling minuscule. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. If it's fine by you,
I love that new dress you bought. Yeah, you sure look nice. Heard you like that new restaurant. You know I've been there twice. And the way that you switch up your hair, all of the moments we share, strolling the streets back in Rome. Oh, how I wish I was there. It ain't fair. No, it ain't fair. I'm in my bed sitting talking to screens all day. But
Alrighty, guys and gals, we are back. I filmed my part. Let's see if we can get my phone reconnected here to our webcam. Maybe we can, maybe we can't.
messaged you yesterday, haven't heard back yet. Did I do something wrong? Or is it something I said? And it hurts me inside, 'cause it's killing my pride.
Okie dokie. Don't know if it'll reconnect. Maybe it won't. If it doesn't, we'll just keep going. This time with no camera. And you know what? That's okay because that's what we did the first week. Alright, maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll find out later, but we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep on doing the thing. So, I went ahead and recorded on my camera. I use a Sony a6400. Great, it's not necessarily budget, but if you're looking into kind of the beginner, higher end of stuff, it's a very, very, very good camera. So, pull the SD card out of that, put it into my SD card reader. Yes, that is a dog you hear. Our dog Piper goes absolutely insane over literally everything, and she's super annoying. I can't stand it, but she can be sweet. It's whatever. so there are my clips right here. I'm gonna bring them all in. If I select them all, hit cut, and then go to my SSD, video project footage, and then the folder I've created for this episode, and paste them in there. What cut does is it deletes it from the original location and copies it to a new location. So I'm taking it off of that old card and putting it onto my SSD. So I don't think the camera's gonna work again. Might have to restart my computer, but we're not gonna do that. So I have all my clips dragged in here, and now I'm gonna actually drag them all the way in to Premiere. So if we pull all this stuff, literally everything, over to the right a little bit, that gives me some room to work with on my intro clip here. So editing, I don't know. It's super zoomed in because my camera films in 4K, and this timeline is a 1080p timeline, so I'll zoom back out to 50% how I wanted it to be for myself and all of the crew, and Good day, Hagerstown Tigers, and welcome back to our final normal So now we'll just go through mine and cut it up how I want it to be cut up. Good day, Hagerstown Tigers, and welcome. Start on the clap. Good day, Hagerstown Tigers, and welcome back to our final normal episode of the studio. Next week will be a bit different due to it being our actual finale episode. We got a few things in store that are definitely not our normal format, so this is the last time you'll see everybody doing their normal thing. What's all of what? What are you asking? Episode of the studio. Next week will be a bit different due to it being our actual finale episode. We got a few things in store that are definitely not our normal format, so this is the last time you'll see everybody doing their normal thing. It's been a really long year doing this, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything else. So we're on our, I think, 31st episode now, and that's a lot of time and effort put in filming and editing by myself and all of the crew, and we couldn't ask for a better community to support us behind this. So thank you to everyone for being our backbone and making this come to life, making this dream come true this year. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and stay tuned for this. All the time. With that being said, I run together this week's episode and make it sound like muffled horse poop. With that being said, sit back, relax, and stay tuned for this week's episode of The Studio. Alrighty, so we'll end her right there. We'll ripple delete all these, all the breaks. Ripple delete everything back into it. The Studio. So now it actually goes into the intro. We do need to do some color correction on mine. This is especially important on these higher end cameras because they film in something called log footage, which is where it's trying to retain as much dynamic range as possible, which is something we talked about earlier on stream. Essentially, it's trying to keep as much of the highlight detail, which is really bright parts of the image, and as much of the shadow detail, which is darker parts of the image, as much of that as possible. And so to do that, it kind of makes everything grayed out a little bit. Looking at it here, it doesn't look that bad, and you don't really notice it. But once you go through like a normal color correction process, it's very, very noticeable how grayed out it is when you get back to it. All right. Good day. Hey. So at chat, P1E, who we talking to? Hagerstown Tigers, and welcome back to our final normal episode of The Studio. Next week will be a bit. Alright, so if we go over to elementary color for some color correction, the first thing that's important is just bumping saturation. Just because it records so flat, it's one of the first things I like to do. Go back to our scopes to mess with our skin tones and such. I think that looks pretty balanced right off the get-go. There's original, there's first correction. We'll go down to curves, we'll bring down our shadows a wee bit, bring those highlights back up. Different due to it being our actual finale episode. We got a few things in store that are definitely not our normal format, so this is the last time you see everybody doing their normal thing. It's been a really long year doing this, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything else. So we're on our, I think, 31st episode now, and that's a lot of time and effort put in filming and editing. By myself and all of the crew, and we couldn't ask for a better community to support us behind this. So thank you to everyone for being our backbone and making this come to life, making this dream come true this year. With that being said, sit back, relax, and stay tuned for this week's episode of The Studio.
After reaching out to Mr. Tyner again this week, this is what he has to say. First,
alrighty.
Watching.
And the amount of scholarship money that will be distributed to our students. Seniors, your senior t-shirt that has been...
So we'll go on forward to the very end.
However, will force temperatures back down for the beginning of the week.
And that brings us to my outro. Since this is the exact same shot here that I use Zoom out. I'm just going to copy the adjustment layer that I did for my color correction. This one back here. You can see the difference. If I go on and off, here's off, here's on. So that's ungraded, non-color corrected footage filmed in log on a DSLR or mirrorless camera. And then we turn it back on. And there's the graded color corrected footage. I know it's been difficult with quarantine going on and still keeping up with homework and just feeling like
beginning of the week.
Alright, so now I'll trim up my outro here. Alrighty, so that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned, especially for next week. There's going to be a big thing coming. For all the seniors especially, and it's definitely not going to be our normal studio episode. After this, it's done. I hope everybody's had a wonderful school year. I know it's been difficult with quarantine going on and still keeping up with homework and just feeling like life is normal, but very soon everything's going to be back to normal. And everything's going to be back to normal. To those that will be running the studio next year, I hope you guys find the same family that I did this year, and really try to develop your passions and stuff. I mean, this has been a huge passion of mine, and I know for many of us, this isn't what we're doing for. I know for myself, this is something similar to what I'll be doing for the rest. Alrighty, try to break up my ramble here to sound cohesive. I mean, this has been a huge passion of mine. I know for myself, this is something similar to what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. I'm going to school for telecommunications at Ball State, but for everybody else, I mean, this is, it's just a hobby, but hobbies can bring you some of the greatest joys, the greatest defeats, all these highs and lows, but everything is worth it in the end when everything's said and done. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you right here next week on the studio. And we're going to bring in our intro clip one more time and use it as the outro. The studio. And that's basically it. We're still waiting on Mason's upload to come through. Actually, there it is. So I'll go ahead and download that. Alright, that's all downloaded now, and we can bring it in. So if you double check script for formatting here, got intro Abby, Paige, Hallie, Noah, Mason. Right after that, Drake, Brooklyn, Jacob, Eli, and Weather, and beyond outro. So we'll run through all this.
Guess you wonder where I've been. I said,
poppin', dog? What you working on? Groovy Mason, I'm trying to work on editing. Can you leave me alone for now? No can do, home slice. The year's about to end. I gotta show everyone how to be groovy. But Groovy Mason, I've already finished the episode. I was just about to edit it. Don't worry about it, Mason. Just chill. I'm gonna take over the episode, and I promise it's gonna be groovy. What's going on, guys? The year's almost over, and I'm gonna show you that you can still be groovy, no matter where you're at. So here we go. I'm gonna groove all around the town.
You tried everything, but you don't give up. In my world, only you make me do for love what I would not do. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in the daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Though I only want the best, it's true. I can't believe the things I do for you. What you won't do for love. You've tried everything, but you won't give up. In my world, only you make me do for love what I would not do. Make me do for love what I would not do. Make me do for love what I would not do. Make me do for love.
Wait, where are my glasses? See, it's so easy to be groovy.
That was quite possibly one of the most beautiful pieces of content I have ever watched in my existence on this earth. Thank you, Mason, for sending in that. So our very, very last step here is to add music. Mason's part, obviously, is already taken care of, but we need something else in here. So, if you're watching, any recommendations there in the comments? I can't remember what I used last week. What did I use last week? Okay. Let's try electric feel. We'll check out what I did last time, because I'm not for sure. Of this Sunday. So sit back, relax. I already did electric feel. Dang, that sucks. We'll try Funk 215. I think something might be wrong with like YouTube servers everywhere, because no videos are working. Let's check on the phone. Yeah, I think YouTube servers just took a poop or something, because we can't download any videos. Interesting. In that case, what we'll do is just go to my downloaded video project downloads, music, just pick out one that I've already used before. Kind of sucks, but it's whatever. Good day, Hagerstown Tigers, and welcome back to our final normal episode of So I went ahead and marked right there where the beat drops, so I can put it on the intro actually coming in. Till then, what I'll do is I'll throw a low pass filter, which is what makes audio sound like it's underwater. Throw that on the actual audio clip. Make the cutoff 1000 hertz. Go forward here to where it comes up and make the cutoff absolute max. And then I'll do the same thing with the volume levels here. Effort put in filming and editing by myself and all of the crew, and we couldn't ask for a better community to support us behind this. So thank you to everyone for being our backbone and making this come to life, making this dream come true this year. With that being said, sit back, relax, and stay tuned for this week's episode of The Studio. Make another keyframe there, and then we'll pull it back down to 1000 and do the same thing with the audio so we can hear Abby again.
After reaching out to Mr. Tyner again this week, this is what.
So right now we already have our crust prepared and made, so now it's time to put on our pizza. Now that is it, and bam!
Hey guys, this is my last week to remind the seniors and senior parents that you can send in any memories, videos, anything that you guys have taken to the studio. We are putting together a big surprise next week, and we hope you all enjoy it.
Hello everybody, the weight room's about 95% done so far, and it's looking awesome, and I'm gonna show you what we got so far.
Yeah. My hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talk,
Alright.
So easy to be groovy.
Hello.
So now Drake comes back in and we'll just use the same audio, I suppose.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to World News with your host, me. Now, today in the news, a tiny Alaskan town named Gustavus, which is 7 hours away from the capital, Juneau, has no roads that can lead cars in, and with being covered with mountains on 3 sides and ocean on 1, the only way in is flying and boats. Now, the town grocer brought it upon himself to buy a freighter ship and travel to Juneau and collect $20,000 worth of groceries, from washing machines to eggs. Now, in other news, did your vacation get canceled because of quarantine? Well, so did many people's, but don't despair yet, because Europe has vowed to reopen rail, road, air, and sea travel back up during the summer and start touring again, as it is the most profitable commodity in Europe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will have to say adieu for now. Onwards to Brooklyn with Sports Zone.
This week we are going to be highlighting our softball seniors. Before we do so, I would like to remind all spring senior athletes to check their email and check their social media private messages to answer our few questions about their sport. The first senior softball player that we are going to be highlighting is Aubrey Andacover. She plans to attend Wilmington College and major in nursing. Her favorite memories include the bus rides because no matter whether the team won or lost, everybody was happy and had fun no matter what. For Aubrey, she says that the sport has turned into a passion. She worked hard almost every day to get better, and she will greatly miss the sport and the team because her teammates turned into her family. She said that she will be forever grateful for them. Next is Mackenzie Slagle. She plans to attend Wright State University and major in neuroscience. Her favorite memory of the sport is joking with her teammates. Congratulations, ladies, and we would like to wish you the best of luck in your future plans.
We are looking forward to a stormy trend throughout the weekend, with this evening's thunderstorms persisting through the night and into Saturday, where it will storm all day, only taking a break over the night, and continuing again on Sunday, where it will yet again storm for the entire day.
We start off our weekend with a high of 73, pushing on into Saturday and Sunday, each with highs of 75. Thunderstorms, however, will force temperatures back down for the beginning of the week.
Alrighty, so that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned, especially for next week. There's going to be a big thing coming for all the seniors especially, and it's definitely not going to be our normal studio episode. After this, it's done. I hope everybody's had a wonderful school year. I know it's been difficult with quarantine going on and still keeping up with homework and just feeling like life is normal, but very soon everything's going to be back to normal. To those running the studio next year, I hope you guys find the same family that I did this year, and really try to develop your passions and stuff. I mean, this has been a huge passion of mine. I know for myself, this is something similar to what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. I'm going to school for telecommunications at Ball State, but for everybody else, I mean, this is, it's just a hobby, but hobbies can bring you some of the greatest joys, the greatest defeats, all these highs and lows, but everything is worth it in the end when everything's said and done. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you right here next week on the studio. Here next week on the studio. All right. Alrighty, I believe that is all we've got this week. I'll be on the lookout for the full upload coming tomorrow at 11:25 in the AM. Thank you to those who have tuned in and to those who are watching the recorded playback. I hope you guys are doing well, and we'll see you right here next week on the studio.